Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sean Spencer.
And I am Tina Winter. And Sean will take us to.
Welcome to Let's Talk Football Breaking News. And let me correct myself real quick. Good afternoon. It's not the evening yet. It's 3:14 Central at 4:14 Eastern time. I am back with my buddy Tina. Tina, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Doing good. It's nice. It's June, which means here in Chicago it's still spring. But even though today it's well, it's not quite summer yet, even though it's 80 degrees outside today. So
good. Yeah, that's what I got. You'll see some beads of sweat going down, even with the air on. So yeah, it's getting warm. But hey, I'm excited. The football is coming back. But really quickly, we thank you all for joining us on Let's Talk Football Breaking News. But we did real quick want to pay our respects to one of the greatest offensive linemen in the game that had ever played. Former Dallas Cowboy, Super Bowl champion, and Hall of Famer Larry Allen, while on vacation, passed away over the weekend. The organization saddened. We're all saddened. I mean, I personally have seen this guy year in and year out, and he dominated us. And we you want a guy like that on your team, and you hate if he's on another team. So we're gonna give a quick little moment of silence and just rest in peace, Larry Allen. Yes. So life is short. Life is definitely short. But listen, we're here to talk football, breaking news, as you see with the title. So I'm going to send it over to my partner, Miss Tina Winter. Tina, there's some follow-up on some tampering allegations. What's going to happen?
Yes, as everybody remembers, we kind of talked about this earlier. There's some pretty serious allegations on the part of the Falcons and Kirk with regards to some of the things they were doing ahead of time, and the rumors are coming down. And also the Eagles had some situations, Saquon Barkley and a couple of others, and the rumors that are coming out is that the NFL is going to announce those punishments this week. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Everybody says that the Atlanta situation was a bit more serious, so more than likely there could be some serious stuff there, which could mean that Atlanta could lose a couple of draft picks, especially a first round next year. So it just kind of depends on what the investigation showed. So, yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see what ends up happening. Like you said, there could be some draft picks, obviously some money, some things like that might be taken. I guess the question is, and I mean, we can make this an individual thing. Like, was it worth it? I mean, the Vikes now lost their quarterback to Atlanta, and the Eagles, we see they got Saquon, and was it worth it for that? Like,
I think the better question is someone somewhere thought it was worth the risk. They thought they weren't going to get caught.
Yeah.
And in the case of Atlanta, it was Kirk that talked about it in an interview. And in the case of Philadelphia, it was a news reporter that kind of outed the situation. So the news reporter is going to say, yeah, it was worth it because I got my story.
Of course.
Kirk, I don't know. I think that was a situation that probably things got away from him and he did not expect what to say what he said, or to people pick up on exactly what he said. So,
and some part of that is like, you come on, bro. You are a highly intelligent man. Okay, what's such a great quarterback? You come on now. You telling me that you didn't know that you couldn't say that?
Well, I think the situation that a lot of people didn't realize is no tampering means no tampering.
Right.
It doesn't mean just players. It means you can't talk to anyone else on the team.
Yep.
And so I think that's that fine little line that a lot of people didn't realize. And that's why I'm saying, I'm thinking maybe he didn't think it all the way, or he was just talking and it got away from him or something. But we'll see what happens. Depending on how severe the penalty is, that's going to tell us which one they thought was which one the NFL is good. And they thought was more important. And I also say, I think the NFL will come down pretty hard, kind of like they came down on the gambling thing last year, about being very specific about what you can and can't. Like, you can gamble, but you can't do this, or you can't be here. And they just chopped heads. We're not going to take it. Next year, you all know, and it could get worse. So we'll see what happens. The last time some situation like this happened, everybody thought people were going to lose, and they didn't lose draft picks, or they didn't lose early round draft picks. They lost later rounds. So I don't know. You can never tell what the NFL is going to do.
Right. Well, yeah. And by the definition of tampering, that kind of happens pretty frequently. I mean, after every game, you can't tell me these guys don't go up to coach like, "Hey, you need a wide receiver? You know what I mean?" Like they
yeah, but nobody's going to talk about that. But I do find it immensely amusing that the NFL calls it. The NFL calls it the legal tampering period.
Yes. Right. Come on, Kurt. Come on, man. Oh God. So yeah, we will definitely see how what all plays out. But it's going to be interesting. But it should be coming down sometime this week, and we'll definitely, follow up on that.
Oh, it'll be breaking news.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody's going to be talking about it.
No, but we are going to move on because we have some more breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, something that we've been paying attention to this whole off season. When is Justin Jefferson going to get paid? I thought it was going to look a little bleak once Kirk left, and you really don't have a quarterback experienced quarterback. I mean, you got some rookies, Darnold's there, so you got some guys that have been around, but not quality good guys like Kirk. So I didn't know if he was going to stay, if he was going to go. But breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, Justin Jefferson, this happened, I believe, yesterday, signed a 4-year contract extension worth $140 million, including $110 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid non-QB in NFL history. Wow.
They wanted him. They needed him.
Yeah. He is that team. He's that offense for sure. So, wow. Woo. Okay. Now, does that set the bar, or is he just that damn good that people are going to come to that level?
I think they really, really needed him to stay, especially with a young quarterback. And he was going to help them build their offense around that young quarterback. You need an experienced wide receiver in there. But Jefferson is also highly, highly talented. Mm-hmm. So I would consider him to be one of the top 10, if not top 5 receivers in the league. So
I know people that will make an argument that he's the number one guy.
Yeah,
he's the number one guy in the league. I think you're absolutely right. They needed to keep him. They needed to move heaven and earth to make sure he stayed in Minnesota. And hey, he's eating. He's got a whole bunch of money. His former quarterback is somewhere else with a whole bunch of money. So they both, made out like fat cats. So good for them.
Yep.
Good for them. So, hey, we'll see what this means now. They've got him in-house. Let's see, how that plays out on the field because, like Tina alluded to, he has got a young quarterback. So that's good because he can help this young quarterback. But how patient is he going to be with this young quarterback? Because there was plenty of video on how he was very frustrated with Kirk Cousins at times for not getting him the ball. So it's going to be
but these kinds of receivers, don't you want a little bit of diva in them? You want them to want the ball. You want them to be upset if they're not getting the ball. I mean, everybody used to make fun of T.O. all the time because he'd throw freaking temper tantrums, but you want that kind of drive in these guys. You want them to lay their bodies out. So but to a point, you don't want them disrupting the team. You don't want them creating a cancer inside your receiver room, but you want a little bit of spit and fire from them. At least I do.
Absolutely. And let's be very honest. The way it gets classified is very different whether you're winning or you're losing. When you're winning, it's passion. Look at the passion.
And spit, yeah.
He can do it. When you're losing, he's crying. He's complaining. What is he doing?
He's a cancer, and we need to get rid of him. Yeah, I mean, sports media knows how to get those people, those clicks and those likes, like we do too. We know what to talk about.
What's going on, Ben? Thanks for joining us. Saying CD be like, oh, Jared, I need that JJ money, bro.
Yes, he will.
Yeah, and he'll get it.
He'll get it. Yeah, no doubt about it. As long as what's his face? As long as JJ is still handling the money and handling the team, CD will get the money.
Absolutely. Oh, good guy. So this is great for the Vikings.
It sets the standards. It does set a standard now for wide receiver money, especially a number one wide receiver. So,
and if I'm not mistaken, Jamar Chase still has not accepted his extension and all that. So he might be looking at that like Cincinnati. You seen what they did?
Mm-hmm.
I've been to a Super Bowl, Cincinnati. So show me the money.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yep.
Real quick, before we're going to take a quick commercial break before we get into Overreaction reality. But before that, you and I had talked about something a while ago, and it just kind of went dead. Tom Brady, had potential talks with being the part owner of the Raiders. Now we know he's got the job with Fox doing the announcing stuff and everything like that. But you had mentioned to me a couple days ago that we haven't really heard anything about him and him going to the Raiders. Any of that. Is that still work?
It's still crickets. It's crickets. There is nothing out there. Nothing at all. I think it might be dead. Maybe not completely dead in the water. It might resurrect every once in a while, but at least the last time we spoke, it looked to be a little bit about money, but it looks like they solved the money issue. Because the initial amount he was going to be giving in was very, very low, extremely low. Yeah. So the owners weren't real thrilled on that because they're trying to keep everybody's value up. And so if you're undercutting what you're allowing a minority partner to come in through, that's going to set a lower standard for everybody across the board. So they said no. So they increased it. Tom Brady has a partner that he was working with. And so Tom was only going to be a portion of that buy-in. Nothing at all. And the next owners committee, I don't believe the next one's until closer to probably July, August, one of those things. But at that point, Tom's going to be going with the Fox Sports crew to all the various teams. And that's why I said it when this happened. Yeah. I had a feeling his sportscasting situation was going to cause a problem. Yeah. And I read fairly soon after we first talked about this that there's owners that have real problems with this. They're not saying who they are. They're saying it under anonymity. And they're like, no, we don't like this. We don't think that a sportscaster should be able to come in when they own another team. So I think that was the sticky part. Now, can they get over this? Can they work through it? Probably yes, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. But if I'm wrong, I will do a breaking news story on my own, and I will say mea culpa. Yes, he got in.
Yeah. Well, I think there's something to what you just mentioned, and you got to. I mean, think about the owners is still an old boys club. It's still all these older, lack of better term, white guys or company groups, management groups that have come together to do that. And they got their sect. They got their group.
Oh, they'd take Tom in a second if it was about money.
Would they, though? Because they don't want it. We haven't been able to get players to be owners. So
what I'm saying is if he didn't have the sportscasting job, he'd be in, no question asked. He'd be a minority partner. It wouldn't have even made the press. They just would have gone in the Raiders and gotten it approved and all of that. It's because it's the sportscasting. It's the immediate conflict of interest that runs this story. So that's why, I mean, like I said, earlier in the process, it was both. It was the money and the sportscasting. Money seems to be fixed. So if that got fixed and sportscasting wasn't a problem, his job wasn't a problem, he'd already be an owner. Right. It would have passed through like that. It's not. So that tells me no matter how much they tried to say it was about money, it wasn't about money. No. It was about the inherent conflict of interest of his job versus being a minority owner of a team, of a member.
Absolutely. So yeah, we will definitely follow up on that, and when that comes out, whichever way that falls, and we will definitely let you know. So all right, we're gonna take a quick breather, and then we will be back with Overreaction or Reality.
Hey there, ladies and gents. Your local handyman, Anton Bennett, here to help you with your problems. I'm here right now on the job site, taking out whole kitchen cabinets. A little bit more work to do, but if you got a project at your house that you need to get completed, I'm your guy to finish it up for you. Give me a call, let me know what you need to get done.
Your new company, man. Shout out to your new company. Go ahead and tell the world about your new company real quick.
Oh boy. So marketing Anton Benton Pros.
Yes.
Doing everything from plumbing to electrical to making huge decks to doing closets.
Yes.
Doing it all. Doing it all.
That's what's up, man. I'm super happy
Thank
for
you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, buddy, that's my guy, Mr. Anton Benton of Awesome Artisans. Check him out. There will be a new commercial coming out soon, and he's got some new work attire it's really nice. He's putting in work. I'll share something a little bit later today on what he's doing. So definitely check him out. He is in the Virginia Beach area, but he will travel. Just let him know, and even if he can't do it, he'll put you in touch with somebody that can. All right, we are back with Let's Talk Football Breaking News. I am Sean Spencer. That is my lovely host, Tina Winter, in the building. And Tina, we have to return to one of our favorite segments, Overreaction or Reality. Now, stick with us because some of these things, you're like, reality? But yeah, we'll show you how we're going to spend this thing. And the theme this week, because it's the only time that there ever be a theme of anything on our football show, unless they hit a game-winning kick, is kickers. Because these kickers have been in the news for things other than football. And I'm going to send it to you with the first one. Obviously, your old kicker, Brandon McManus, who Washington Commanders just signed, they have all now just released. And real quick with what happened, he was accused of sexual assault. There's actual couple women that said there were certain incidents when he was a member of the Jaguars where he was on a team flight and he was kind of grinding on them, and they felt like it was not a safe environment with him around. I'm going to send it to you, and I'll tell you my piece a little bit later. What are your thoughts? Have you heard anything about this?
Other than the allegations, no. And as people know, like McManus, he had a reputation of being a jokester and a fun guy and like somebody you like to have around on the flights and stuff like that. So I've never heard anything bad being said about, or even rumors. Like I just started digging for rumors and I couldn't see anything with regards to him. So I'm not sure what's going on with this. I think this is going to be one that it's going to have to go through the legal process to determine on whether or not what happened, because he's saying him and his attorney did release a statement saying that that there's some issues maybe with some of the claims, and that's typical for a case like this. There's going to be back and forth in the press and things that are said. So it's going to have, the process is going to have to work its way through the legal system. Right. But here's the situation, and this is when I'll throw it back to you, that if you're the Washington Commanders and you see these allegations, what are you going to do in this situation? What would an NFL team do nowadays? So
Right.
what do you think?
And so that, I think that comes to the very question: are we did they overreact, or is this who he really is? And I don't from
or is the situation the reality going forward?
Well, right. And so, but I think that's my question. Even if we're gonna make it about the individual, or even put more of a magnifying glass on every player, I think we do need to kind of figure out where we're going to draw the line, in a sense, because I agree that if anything was done, and if he has come out and done that, then okay. But from some of the reports, it just seems, grinding. You don't want to do it, but how many of us have been to parties where, you're trying to walk through the crowd and say, you know what I mean? And I'm not in any way, shape, or form defending what he did, if this is what he did and this is what he's about. But when I read sexual assault, obviously, where the mind goes, and that's
the thing with a lot of people that are not in the legal field, or not in this type of in sexual harassment or sexual assault and those kinds of things, is that when they think of that, they think like blatant sexual assault, blatant sexual harassment. And the thing is that's not the way the laws are written. The laws are written in such a way that someone feels uncomfortable. They are uncomfortable being around that person. You may have said something or made a joke or did something like this, or you create a work environment that you feel that you cannot say something, that if you don't do certain things. So it's much, much broader than what people think of. Now, and I'm going to just say this because as a woman and as what's going on, and a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about Me Too and things like that, is I think in this case, the Commanders did the right thing.
Yeah.
It's not about the player. It's about the situation and about making it look like we do care about female, we do care about what happens. We don't want this to happen on our plane. So we're just cutting it across the board. Now, if he had actually played some games and things like that, I think that there might have been a little bit different situation. He might have been suspended or whatever, but I think they did make the right decision. Not the best decision for McManus, but the best decision for the team, because they just don't want to have, they don't want to have that kind of PR anymore. No team does.
No team, but especially Washington, after we were just coming off of all the nonsense with Dan Snyder, all those allegations of how that was an unsafe working environment and the upper management and all that stuff under him. So this is a totally different regime from a Washington standpoint. So I know as soon as this came out, there was no question. And in fact, they've already gone and I believe signed another kicker just to kind of get over that whole situation.
And another thing that goes with this, and it just popped in my head, is remember, these flights it's not, most teams don't own the plane.
Yeah.
They charter them through American, United. Those are generally the two that do it. So if you have stewardesses, they may not want to work that flight anymore. Or it could get to the point that United or American can just say, nope, we're not chartering you anymore. We're not going to allow this. So you're going to lose. You're going to now have to come up with your own way of getting transportation, your own planes or things like that. So there's business, as I've said time and time again. I mean, NFL is a big business.
Absolutely.
There's more going into these decisions than just this is a nice guy, we believe him. The 1950s, 1960s mentality in NFL teams and owners, it's gone, people. Stop beating that horse.
Some of it's gone. Some of them try
some of it's gone.
Keep it in. Yeah, but because if we were at that 1950s mentality, neither of us would be in front of the camera.
True. I would probably be the stewardess on there going, he touched me wrong.
Right. And they'd be like, get over it. Come on,
Yeah,
you're fine.
it's part of business. Yeah,
And
I
we're
agree.
not advocating that, ladies and gentlemen. We are telling,
No.
we're just joking on how it used to be. But speaking of kickers, and speaking, I love your point that if we are going to start to kind of not cater, but market to our female fans. Obviously, we saw that last year with Taylor Swift and how many fans she brought in. If we're going to do that, then we have to be very strict and very swift on these actions. Now, like we said, not everybody feels like women should be in the forefront. Some of us feel that some kickers feel that the woman should maybe her best thing is, you know what? I'm just going to let him say it. Mr. Harrison Butker gave a commencement speech, and I'll let you hear what he had to say.
Anxiety and depression, despite technology that has connected us more than ever before. It would seem the more connected people are to one another, the more they feel alone. I'm not sure the root of it, but at least I can offer one controversial antidote that I believe will have a lasting impact for generations to come. Get married and start a family. Wow. I will say this is the most important ring I have right here. Having kicked the game-winning field goal in both the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl, I have received a great deal of praise for these successes. They just announced that this Super Bowl was the most watched football game of all time. And yet all of this happiness is temporary. And the truth is, none of these accomplishments mean anything compared to the happiness I have found in my marriage and in starting a family. My confidence as a husband and father, and yes, even as a football player, is rooted in my marriage with my wife, as we leave our mark on future generations by the children we bring into the world. How much greater of a legacy can anyone leave than that?
Oh, wait. That's actually not even
I was going to say, that's not the controversial
that's not it
part.
at all. So, all right, Tina, I'm going to try to find that. Let me just.
Okay, I'm going to talk just about that clip because that's the part that a lot of people are going to. And I don't think we really need to show the clip. Everybody's seen it or heard about it and all that stuff. Okay, that part of the clip, I have no problem with. That's his personal opinion on how he thinks what his faith and his marriage has done for him. And he honors his wife and holds her in high regard and his marriage in high regard. I have no problem with that. That part of the speech, 100%. That's how you feel. That's the way it feels. But as we all know, he went on and said some things that were a bit more controversial. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are like, oh, he didn't say that. You're implying that because that's how you feel. And it's like, everybody's experiences colors their reality. Mm-hmm. So while I'm using the royal you as a white straight man would hear him give that speech. If you agree with him that you think there's problems in society or things like that, and if we just went back to everybody getting married and having kids, then you're not going to have a problem with what he says. If you're a woman such as myself, who was said from a young age, well, my parents were different. Let's just say that. My parents are like, you can do anything a man can do, and you don't have to do this. And my religious teachings was a little bit lackluster a lot because, I mean, you can ask my mother at 7th grade. I turned and looked at my parents when I was going for communion and said, I'm not finishing this. And they asked me why. And I was like, do you know how they talk about women? I didn't say it that way, but I was like, and the pastor, because we were Presbyterian, was like, well, it's just kind of formality. And I was like, don't care. No. Don't care. No. Yeah, I'm not doing this. But it's so what your experiences are what colors your reality. And the fact of the matter is that there still are quite a few people in this society who feel that man should be, it's God, their religion, man's the head of the household, and the women are behind. I disagree with that. And this is one of those that I'm trying to be very careful because I don't want to piss anyone off or anything. But his views are from the 1950s. He wants Absolutely. A 1950s housewife that stays at home, which everybody knows the reason why the 1950s housewives did what they did is because they were drugged up to high hell from all the oh, my wife is anxious. Here's a pill. Oh, my wife has a pain. Here's a pill. Like, that's what they did. So, I mean, not everybody was that way, but I'm trying not to get on my soapbox.
Look, what he did in that comment, I understand where you're coming from, where there are people that say, well, that is the way that is in the Bible. The man is the head of the household. I get all that. But he didn't stop there. He
did not.
And them, and they get a month of pride, but why does we need to have the true pride in our God? But listen, the reason this is America, okay, where you can have that freedom of speech. So I'm not going to sit here and vilify you for having that, because there are people that I always say to Kat, there's a demographic for everything. There's a group that will be okay with anything that's out there, or just certain things. They have their niche. There's going to be some people that really worked. There are certain stations that played this speech over and over and defended him very strongly about it. And there was a lot of other stuff on the internet that we're very against. My thing is, know your surroundings, know the optics, know, if you're going to come out here and say this, you should expect to get a lot of backlash from it, because what you're saying is, albeit it might be a way of thought for certain people, what you are saying, because he started it by saying, I have a thought that's controversial. Mm-hmm. So you know that what he's saying is already going to go after certain people. So if you're really doing that I cannot defend that as much, because I feel like you had an agenda and you said, now I have a platform, so I'm going to sit here and speak my mind. And that is a problem to me, that he did that. Yeah. Among other things. I don't agree with him at all on a lot of what he was saying. But.
Yeah, like he's spoken at this commencement address before, and he's spoken at Catholic colleges at the commencement speeches before. So understand, he knows what he's doing. But here's the thing, even with and now I am kind of glad you ran that film, because if you look at it where he says it, he gets some cheers. Yeah. It wasn't absolute applause. No. It was a few pockets here and there. He is giving this speech to women who had just graduated from that college. And he goes on to say that you should stay at home and have kids and not get a job. Now I'm paraphrasing, and that's not exactly what he said or how he said it, but that he's at a commencement speech with women who are graduating.
Right.
Now, are they all Catholic? There's some other things that we won't get into. He's connected with another fringe group that what he was saying takes on a different connotation, and I'm not going to get into that because I'm just not going to do that. Like here's the thing. This is the difference, like what we were talking about, like how I said with the Commanders. The Commanders went in and immediately cut it off at the head. He said, no, we're not going to let this affect. What happened when this happened? Not that the Chiefs were going to say anything or be like, oh, we're cutting him because he has free speech. He has a right to say what he wants to say when he's on his own time. So he's not going to lose his job because of this. But they should have come out faster. And I get why all the players and everybody that's said on this is he has a right. It doesn't matter to us what his feelings are off the field. It's what happens on the field. Understand that. But he sits there and says, like, the last Super Bowl was the number one Super Bowl. You know why it was the number one Super Bowl? Because of all the Taylor Swift fans that suddenly joined in and started watching your game. Yeah. That's why it was the number. Get all this great, I'm just going to say, feminine energy because her and her fans coming to the game and enjoying themselves and learning about football. Do you know the number one jersey in the world is a Kansas City Chiefs jersey? because of Taylor Swift and her fans going out and buying. Their numbers exploded.
Absolutely.
Question's going to be, what's going to happen now? Do they lose some of that energy? I mean, he could get booed off the field every time he steps up there.
Well, if you win, we all know, if you win, that hides all the other nonsense.
Yeah.
And, if they go on to win another Super Bowl, nobody's going to be talking about this. Nobody's going to be going back and forth. But to me, again, it's just, and we don't have to stay here that long. It's just read the room. And like you said, I think there were definitely some undertones that were kind of, it seemed like almost a political speech. It seemed like an agenda. Like, we need to be doing this. We need to make things great again.
Right.
Just gonna leave that there. But so at the end of the day, like you said, if you're kicking field goals, you're winning the game.
Your job is to kick field goals. Shut the fuck up about everything else. Sorry. I didn't mean to swear, but I had to.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Potty Mouth herself came out with it, and we love it. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we are so glad that you were able to join us on this day, on Tuesday, for Let's Talk Football Breaking News. Myself, my amazing co-host, Miss Tina Winter. We will definitely be back with you following the OTAs, trying to get into what's going on with tampering stuff, Tom Brady, any other extensions or signings or anything like that. But we are two months away from preseason. Maybe a month and a half away from the Hall of Fame game, maybe 2 months, because I think it starts at the beginning of August. So, hey, it's right around the corner. But as for right now, enjoy your summer, and we'll be back with you. Peace, people.
Bye, guys. Peace out.
Have a good evening. And what? What? Really? Washington had no hesitation in this offseason. They hired Bob Myers, a special consultant.
They're taking advantage of the fact that players and celebrities are public figures.